Hello and welcome back. I am Conan Librarian with Conan's EDC, Easy Dad Carry, and today we are going to make an urban EDC tin. Let's take a look. So this video, I am actually going to be putting together an urban EDC tin for Ken Lang. First off, I want to apologize and just say this took way too long to get together between life and kids and vacation, being sick, all sorts of stuff. This took entirely too long. But what this is the build for Ken Lang, who is the winner of the 1,000 sub giveaway for when we hit 1,000 subs here at Conan's EDC. And I was going to give away a couple things. One is the i3T Olight Desert Warrior flashlight, and the winner got to pick what kind of tin they wanted me to put together for him, and Ken Lang chose an urban EDC tin. So I'm actually pretty excited about this. Now there's a lot of stuff here. Not all of this is going to fit, and certainly not in its current state per se, but when we talk about urban EDC, there is a big difference between urban and outdoor, obviously. In an urban environment, you probably don't need as much, say, fire capacity, or you may not need as much, say, lighting as you may in an outdoor setting. You'll notice there's not really a whole bunch of kindling here. And in the same manner, when you're in the outdoors, you may need bigger blades, you may need that kindling, that sort of thing. So when we talk about urban EDC, what it means is, to me, the same kind of things that I carry in my urban EDC, my dad tin here, is stuff that helps me get through my day. And in an urban environment, it's a little specific, and what it comes down to is, to me at least, navigating your daily life in the city, or just going about doing errands and chores and getting through your day at your job. So first and foremost, though, I chose the green because green really does pop out, and I like this color specifically just because also you don't see as many green tins. I think every time I see the urban, or rather the Altoids EDC, it's usually red. So first off, let's get this cleaned up. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Now, something that I usually include in a lot of my kits is actually a lighter of some kind. Small, large, a lot of different types. But I want to focus a little more, like I said, on the urban environment, where honestly fire is not really as important or prevalent a need when you're in that sort of environment. So instead of a lighter, even a small one, which takes up a lot of room, what I want to do instead is a book, or at least some matches. Take up a little less room. Yeah, they're disposable, they're one-time use, but it also means that you still have at least something. Like I said, I'm not as worried about providing fire in this situation when you're just trying to get through your day. I'm probably going to steal a striker off of this guy, but for now, we definitely want to do matches. Kind of what I'm going to do is throw some stuff together, figure out what I want in here specifically, and then start repackaging. The other things I really wanted to include are tools. And I say tools because in an outdoor environment, what you need is essentially a knife and things to process and handle raw materials. Whereas in an urban environment, you really need to navigate around your, well, urban needs. So while, yes, a knife is important for a lot of different reasons, honestly, scissors are super important. Something like this guy. I love these little things. I have them in all my kits. It's a tiny little screwdriver set, usually for glasses, but can be used on a lot of electronics and just a lot of other things. The other thing, tweezers, always good. Now, I thought long and hard about a full little pocket knife, and I might even steal maybe the toothpick out of this, but I have a different solution than just this guy. The other thing when it comes to tools is I have this tiny little screwdriver, but something like this where we have an actual good driver. Now, this is something you can find on Temu or AliExpress or Amazon. It's a few bucks, and it's a driver and a bit holder. This is obviously not going to fit, and really, I don't have room for something huge. However, I actually took the screws out of this, and what we have when we take it apart is a little finger driver. Now, it's not crazy. It's not going to give you the same torque as, you know, an actual, say, drill, but it is something that actually holds bits. It does have a detent, and while maybe the detent's pretty specific for these smaller bits that came with it, a regular bit is still going to fit in there, and maybe it's not perfect. I don't even know that it has... It's got a very weak magnet, but it's at least something to be able to get some grip and actually use as a tool. Now, as far as a bunch of the little loose stuff, what I have is this little guy, and this is just a little tin that I've actually glued a couple little magnets on, and the point of this is to help keep it from actually sliding all over the place once it's actually in the tin itself. There we go. If I can... There we go. So this way, it at least has a little bit of, well, a little less wiggle once you actually start packing it in. So, like I said, tools are actually a little more important when it comes to the urban environment than the outdoor environment. Now, along with tools are supplies. Something like sewing, whether it's your shirt or sewing a button back on, some clothespins for, again, usually fabric, but can also be used for repair, a paper clip, and some super glue. All of this stuff, again, it can be used in an outdoor setting, but it doesn't have the same application as it does in an urban environment. All right, a couple other little tools here. This, when I say I don't want to go for a full pocket knife, and while I have already a blade in there, something like this. It's pretty common in first aid kits. I really like this little thing because it does have a tiny little blade. It has a little file and nail cleaner. And it has this little guy, little bottle opener, because everything's got to have a bottle opener, which in an urban environment, definitely not a bad thing, and a little flathead. So this is going to actually fit in there pretty easily. This I want to throw in along with one or two mini carabiners. This guy is actually a little pocket clip, and the point of throwing this in by itself is because whether you suddenly find yourself needing to carry certain gear, or you want to hook something to yourself, or suddenly you're in a situation where you don't want to have to be digging something out of a kit or a bag or whatever it is, you have an option to actually hang it in a pocket or make it that much more accessible. And this little guy, again, can definitely be used in an outdoor environment. It is a tiny little toothpick. And I will say, I have a few of these. They're in a couple different kits. These things are absolutely sharp. This is more for, say you need to play with your phone, you need to clean something out, or for first aid. I would never personally use this as an actual toothpick, but I can say, having used these now for a few months throughout my different kits, are honestly way more practical than I initially gave them credit for. Now, a couple other little things here I want to throw in and include. Might have a little bit of outdoor application, a little more focus, but at the same time, when we talk about an urban environment, that doesn't mean there aren't situations that come up or emergencies, things like that. So included in this, along with the sewing kit, this is about 10 or 15 feet of 50-pound Kevlar cordage, just wrapped around a bread tie. Just that way you have something extra, whether you need something more heavy-duty, like your bag or your sling actually tears, or a coat where something just basic thread might not do it, or you need to create something a little bit stronger. This stuff is awesome. And I'd like to get one or two of these in. These are just little couple inch long, I want to say they're 2-inch long glow sticks. Maybe one, hopefully two. Point of these is to have something as really just a marker. You're not really going to read by these, but say too, you want to just drop this I actually saw online, and I thought it was really smart, where someone carried these in their baggage, and they would drop one in a water bottle or a glass, so that way they could find their drink or their bottle in the middle of the night. Now, I don't know why you wouldn't just, turn on a light, but to use this as a marker of some sort, even just setting it down on a surface near something important, so you know where it is, or to avoid a certain hazard, a couple of glow sticks are not a bad thing to have with you. Now, while he is going to be getting the i3T little button light, I really like these, and I'm going to save space. I'm going to take off the split ring. I'll still probably include this in here, just because these are so practical to have and easy to use. With a rubber band or string, you can attach this to anything. It's small enough. If you need to, you can hold it in your teeth while you're working on something. I love my i3T, I love my O-Lights, my Poke Lights, all of these different brands. But honestly, for the convenience and for the size and what it is, just one of these little watch battery flashlights, it's hard to beat the practicality of something like this. This little guy, I like to throw these in a lot of kits, whether it's indoor or outdoor. So what this is just, I'm not going to shout it at the camera, is a tiny little light. You plug it into a USB and you have light, which is super convenient because, say, you're just carrying a charge pack, you don't have a light with you, or you want to plug it into, say, a computer tower. It's just a way to carry light. Or, say, you do have a plug-in, or rather a wall port. This can create a little night light for you, and it takes up barely any space. With this too, a couple bread ties, just because they're practical for cord management and just keeping things organized. I'm not going to throw all of these in, but one or two of these is just a really nice, convenient thing to have. Like I said, whether you're organizing cords or say you want to keep something bundled together in general, bread ties are actually a really good way to do that. This guy here, a Fresnel lens. I think I'm saying that right finally. I like these. Obviously, in an outdoor setting, you can absolutely start a fire with one of these. In an urban setting, being able to actually inspect or read something better, it can still, in fact, be used for starting fires if need be, just like the matches. Or you need to, say, shim something. Something like this is just, again, really nice to have, and it fits in a kit like this super easy. There's no reason not to pack something nice and flat in a kit, in a tin. And when we're talking about other flat materials, this is going to turn into one of my favorite things, a tape card. Just a few layers of Gorilla Tape, a few layers of electrical tape, because both have different applications and different uses, and just a few wraps around this can get you a couple feet of great repair material, technically kindling if you need to. And it's a super convenient way to actually carry something like this. I carry one of these in my wallet all the time, or even if I'm just using my lever gear tool card, something like that, a tape card, super easy to carry around and super practical. Along with the flat stuff, little Right in the Rain notebook, because he chose the orange Right in the Rain pen that I said I was going to be giving away. Donated by Pocket Pen. Really great company, really great pens. And so he chose this orange one because I said I'd be giving that away. And if you're going to have a Right in the Rain pen, you need some Right in the Rain paper. Again, a notebook that fits super easy. And I talk about it in all my videos. Paper and pen is incredibly underrated in any circumstance. Being outdoors, being able to take notes or keep yourself sane in an urban environment, the writing stuff down becomes even more important, or again, taking notes for an emergency. And something like this, Right in the Rain, means you don't have to worry about, say, this sitting in your bag or getting wet or anything and being a pulpy mess. The other thing with something like this, it's not a bad idea if you're going to carry a kit, something that's really personal, you're not necessarily just leaving it around, maybe putting some personal information in here, making sure there are certain contacts in here or just important things that you want to make sure, if need be, whether you give this to someone or you need to try to recall something, you have a place that already has some important information written down. With this too, I want to figure out, and we're going to figure out, getting some first aid and other convenience stuff in here. Little towelette. These guys pop out to roughly, I want to say, 6 by 8 inches. Just add a couple capfuls of water. So these are awesome. Glasses, wipes, band-aids, that sort of thing. I like the idea of being able to put some potable aqua tabs in here too, possibly. But really what it comes down to is first aid. Something like this cannot be a first aid kit when it's dedicated to all this other stuff. And even an Altoids tin that is just first aid and toiletries, it's pretty hard to get everything in that you would really say like to, or you would want to rely on as something really rely on as something reliable. Rely on for something heavy duty is going to be tough to do, but in an urban environment, at least having these small conveniences, whether it's, hey, you caught yourself and snagged and you need to just clean yourself up a little bit, or take care of something until you can get to somewhere better where you can take care of something more thoroughly, is actually pretty convenient. I mean, a small hangnail can absolutely ruin a day if you keep catching it. A small nick somewhere absolutely can sting, or if you're in a really grimy environment, really kind of worry you if it's actually going to get worse. So having some band-aids, having a little bit of first aid, definitely something we want to take care of. Eye drops, again, kind of goes with first aid. We're going to see how it fits in here. And the last thing, unless I'm mistaken, and what I'm going to do is put all this, like I said, kind of together, and then go through it and review it at the end again. Just a little button compass. I like these guys. I've got a pack of them. Whenever you get these little button compasses, make sure that they actually point the right way. Let's see here. Well, hold on a second. All right, so this one here is actually good, and this one, I don't know what's going on with it, but this thing goes in the trash because it's now junk. Like I said, you can get these by the bagful. That's what I did. Always check. I know for a fact that North is pretty much behind me. Always test these. Always check them before you actually rely on them at all. And it's just some backup in an urban environment, actually. Knowing which way north and south and east and west is really isn't a bad thing. Honestly, most navigation units say go north, go south. And just having an idea of a compass direction isn't too bad. Plus, I like these things because they actually fit, say, on a strap, or if you're going to carry something, there we go. Say you want to make a lanyard or a necklace. It's an easy way to actually carry a compass, is to just slip this on something without having to dig it out or carry it just in your pocket. Okay, so the next shot here is going to be this cleaned up. I'm going to get all this kind of together and wrapped up here, and then I'll pop it open, show you how everything fit, show you what maybe I changed up as I was getting it together to see what does and doesn't fit, what does and doesn't work or make sense, and go from there. So jump cut, and all right. So I actually spent a lot of time trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I thought about upgrading to something bigger, but I really wanted to keep it kind of minimal. The Ranger band on here is for, well, practicality, so you can use it, and to actually keep it closed. What I have found, though, if you carry an Altoids tin with a lot of stuff in it, over time, it kind of compresses. You find the best way, as you take stuff out and put stuff in, to kind of play with it and get it to fit better. A lot of my kits at this point stay closed by themselves. I just have the band on there for extra reinforcement and to have if I need it. So this is an urban EDC tin. The things that hopefully Ken Lang can use and rely on to help him get through his day in an urban environment. I'm going to open it up, show you kind of what I did, what I managed to get in there. Some of the things I had to kind of change around a little bit, because like I said, I wanted to keep it really pocket-sized. So initially, the Ranger band and the tin itself. Now up top, I know I initially talked about doing a tape card, but the more I got in here, the more I realized how much real estate that was really going to take up. So up top are some strips of Gorilla Tape and electrical tape. And if it looks a little off-center and messy, that's on purpose so that each strip individually can be peeled up and used. That way, one piece at a time. So maybe you'd have to use multiple pieces for something larger, but you have a just quick strip for wrapping something or repairing something. Just like I said, off-center to make it easier to remove it off of the lid here. Up top, little packet of hand sanitizer, which is good for cleaning a wound or your hands if need be, starting a fire. Nothing huge in here. Like I said, as far as first aid goes, this is more about just getting through your day. So just a little bit. As far as everything else that went in here, I actually was able to fit pretty much everything I wanted to. So a little pair of scissors. This I actually stole out of one of these little tech cards, a little Swiss card. Now this is a knockoff Swiss. It's not an actual Swiss card. And you know what? I might just go ahead, throw in maybe a couple extra little pieces from there. Maybe, if it fits, we'll see. But the little scissor as out of that, because honestly, scissors are such an underrated tool to have and use. And honestly, these days, I find myself using scissors just as much as I find myself actually opening a blade anymore these days. So, scissors. Now, that being said, a little blade is definitely nice to have. I like this little guy because it's short. I mean, if you're going to carry it, comes in at 2 inches, which is legal pretty much everywhere, and it's not locking. So, well, make sure you're careful when you're handling it. Because it doesn't lock, it's actually even more legal a lot of places, and has a little clip, little carabiner on that itself. It did still include at least one glow stick. Like I said, having something to mark something, whether you're dropping it as a quote-unquote breadcrumb, or just setting down somewhere, say you're in a hotel room and you want to set this near, like I said, something important just so you can find it, a glow stick. Little sewing kit, that we have something for repairing a shirt or a tear or a bag. A couple little replacement buttons, needle in there. Again, little compressed towel. These things are just absolutely great. Not only are they good for, say, cleaning up, but on a hot day, soak one of these. I mean, they stay together really well. They're essentially super tough paper towels. Wet this and put it on the back of your neck, and it definitely helps keep you cool. Super glue for both repair and actually first aid. Honestly, these days, I find myself using super glue probably more than I use Band-Aids for little nicks and cuts. It's easy, it's quick, and you don't have to deal with a Band-Aid coming off, and it's mostly waterproof. Little flashlight. Like I said, just super convenient to have something. I know we're going to have this, but I like the idea of this being mostly self-contained if this is all you're going to throw in your pocket. This little tool, yes, it has another little blade, but having a little bottle opener, little flathead, and having a nail file on that, definitely nice just to have a little bit of something. And again, you don't always want to have to pull out a giant multi-tool if you're going to take care of something, especially something small. The Right in the Rain pen, and maybe it'll be something that you just throw in your pocket. They make clips. You can put clips on them. Little pocket screwdriver clips fit on these pretty easily too. But it actually fits the tin really well. It's just another reason I really like these pocket pens is because they go down so small and fit pretty much anywhere and everywhere. A little S-beaner. This is off Night Eyes. Just because, again, it's nice to have an option for attaching things to things. A pair of tweezers. Now, I could have gone with something to save a little more space, even stolen the tweezers out of, you know, little Swiss Army knife tweezers. But I like the idea of having something a little more solid, something a little more beefy. Stuffed inside of that is some of these bread ties. Still the little sunglasses, or rather the little micro screwdriver for glasses, or little electronics. I mean, this thing has 1,000 uses. Even if you don't wear glasses, I really recommend going out and getting these. I'll have a link. I know I've linked them before on previous videos where you can get them. It's 3 or 4 of them for under 10 bucks. There's no reason not to carry one of these in your car, your bag. Even, I mean, it's small enough, take off the dangle here, and it can go in a wallet easily. The poker or toothpick, again, I know it calls it a toothpick. I can't stand the idea of putting something this sharp in my mouth, but having something as a picking tool, a cleaning tool, a lancing tool for first aid, definitely very useful and super convenient. The fact that it's this small, the fact that you can hang it if you want to. That's the other reason I included one of these S-hooks, is a lot of this stuff you can rig up. A lot of this stuff you can throw on a carabiner. Say you rather carry some of it jangling. You want to have some of this ready to grab for whatever reason, whatever situation. Just having ways to attach. Speaking of, I forgot to throw in split ring. I've talked about this before, but it bears repeating. I think split rings are absolutely underrated. A great tool. I mean, yeah, they're not as convenient as a carabiner, but the only reason something comes off of this is because of failure, not because, oops, I bumped something. You're not relying on a magnet. Yeah, it can take some effort, but at the same time, this is a pretty fail-safe way to keep something attached to something. Down in here is that little USB port light. The Write in the Rain notebook, and in the bottom is that Fresnel lens. Now, the tin itself, I still wanted to keep this. You could actually take this out, and you might even save space. But the reason I like this little tin is because also, say you do want to dump other stuff out and just carry something in here. Whether you decide you're going to carry some pills while you're out, or you want to pocket just something small, having a tiny little option like this really isn't too bad. As far as what I put in there, you'll notice we haven't seen any matches yet. It's because I fit them in here. Inside of this is a couple strikers, and I actually, instead of just taking the striker off of the kind of flimsy matchbook itself, I stole the strikers off of an actual box of matches, just because it's a little bit tougher. I know these matches aren't as tough as an actual stick match, but it's something to have. Inside of here, that cordage, the little driver bit, and my cat being a jerk. Hold on a second. All right, there we go. So the little driver bit, paper clip, safety pins, an extra bit in here, and there's enough actually in here if you want to stuff another little, whether it's a flathead or just another bit. I like to carry a T8 with me for most of my kits because that's what most of my pocket knives actually use, is a T8 for the main pivot screw, and a lot of times even the other hardware too. T8 really seems to be probably the most popular fitting. So I hope that this has one, Ken, I really hope you enjoy this. I hope this hits that EDC urban tin that you were hoping for. Now, again, you'll be getting the light, you'll be getting the tin, you've got the pen. I'm also going to be throwing in, first off, this guy, because I really did want to make it fit, and I just think these things are great. Throw it on something, or throw it away, or throw it in your car, but tiny little compass, not a bad thing to have. I'm also going to be including this badge reel from MNGARISTA. This is the thing I use every day for my keys. I've been using it for a little over 6 months. This thing is awesome. I am an affiliate for MNGARISTA, and I'm an affiliate because I use their stuff all the time. I carry their wallet. I carry this badge reel for my keys. I wear it at least 5 days a week, and it is just continued to kick ass. Also going to be throwing in, these are the Flytanium dice. This was the Blade HQ Desert Warrior dice, and as a matter of fact, hold on, they had both the pink and blue set and the pink set. I'm going to be throwing in a set of each of these as well. Obviously, that doesn't go in the tin, but I just wanted to say thank you. Ken, I really appreciate you being part of the channel, and I appreciate everyone who's been part of the growth. I really am still enjoying doing random things, eating bugs, opening knives, building kits, and I hope that as the channel grows, we can reach out and keep having fun and keep doing random stuff together. So, as always, thank you for spending your time with me, and stay safe, be prepared, and have a great day.